Hi, my name is Sierra Longsinger, and for my persuasive speech, I would like to talk about Shannon Eckel and the Cobain case. We claim to hold ourselves to high standards in the equestrian world, but when a trainer's negligence leads to a horse's death and the industry responds with silence, what does that say about our values? Whether you are a horse owner, rider, trainer, or simply an animal lover, the safety of animals under professional care should matter to all of us. After researching reports from the United States Equestrian Federation, the owner's statements, and the legal documents relating to this case, it is clear that the industry had failed both Cobain and his owner. The tragic death of Cobain reveals that trainers like Shannon Eckel must be held to a higher legal and ethical standard as an equine professional and take accountability for the suffering she has caused. The well-known hunter-jumper trainer Shannon Eckel, based in Aiken, South Carolina, is known for her establishment Hat Trick Sport Horses. Cobain, who was Sarah Menin's horse, was training with Eckel and scheduled to show at the local Stable View Summer Classic Horse Show. On the morning of July 31st, 2021, Cobain refused to load onto the trailer that was headed to the horse show, so Eckel returned him to his stall and tied him up with a rope halter, then proceeded to drive to the show with the other horses, leaving him at home. She did not notify her stable grooms that she was leaving him tied up in his stall, or communicate to her staff that he was showing signs of colic that morning, which can be fatal to horses without proper care. These details would have been crucial to securing veterinary care for Cobain, but she failed to deliver, and he had sadly passed before they returned. He had allegedly been tied to the highest point of his stall wall by his head, which gave his neck an unnatural upright and vertical angle. This led him dead, hanging by his head, with his body on the ground, and with a broken jaw and cervical spine in an attempt to escape from the tie. The truth is, the death of Cobain was completely preventable. As an equine professional, she knew that rope halters did not break or give in to pressure. She knew that leaving a horse tied unattended for an hour, let alone several, was a deadly risk, and she knew that no one was aware that he was still in the barn. Not only did Sarah Menin, Cobain's owner, have to suffer emotionally, she suffered ethically, financially, and professionally because of this tragedy. Her beloved horse, who had previously shown on the 29th and 30th of July prior to the incident without an issue, was now dead, all because of her trainer, Shannon Eckel. His life was gone, and this loss was both unnecessary and painful for her emotional well-being. She was the one who lost a high-value horse, but she had to suffer the consequences of her trainer's actions by paying his medical bills and legal fees, and eventually taking legal action, which is not only expensive, but an exhausting process. Although Cobain's death took place in 2021, the United States Equestrian Federation took 2 years to respond to this incident, and at the time, Shannon Eckel still trained and showed professionally through USEF after Cobain's death. The case had gotten USEF's attention in 2023 when members were pressuring them to discipline Eckel, and one member said that the Federation previously told her that they could not intervene because the incident occurred off of show grounds, regardless of the fact that he was currently entered in a licensed competition when he passed. It was not until December 2024 that there was a rule change that extended their jurisdiction beyond show grounds, which could have had a better impact on Cobain's situation if they took action sooner. Eckel was punished and fined $2,500 under the USEF rule GR 702.1.d for acting in a manner contrary to the rules of the Federation, or in a manner deemed improper, unethical, dishonest, or unsportsmanlike to the best interests of the sport and the Federation. This ruling had Shannon Eckel expelled from all USCF shows as a rider or trainer, and this is the step in the right direction to discipline abusive behaviors from professionals in the industry. Even though the situation seemed to be solved by enforcing new rules, there is still change to be made. The 3 most important actions that I believe need to be enforced in order to protect horses now and in the future are mandatory licensing or certification for all trainers under USEF, a public trainer registry, and more detailed legal contracts between owners and trainers. First, a mandatory licensing or certification for trainers would not only ensure trainers are qualified to train, but also understand animal welfare, emergency care, and any legal obligations they have when training and going to rated horse shows. Next, a public trainer registry would protect owners from hiring someone with a record of horse neglect or abuse unknowingly to limit their connections with others professionally. Lastly, a strong legal binding contract protects both the owner and trainers by going into detail for their expectations, what to do in emergency, and how to properly maintain the horses. These actions are the next step to further protect horses and owners and make sure that they are following the rules and guidelines for all horse shows for the future. By taking this initiative, owners can verify a trainer's credentials and history, horses will be treated with standardized emergency protocols, and fewer horses will have to suffer or die due to ignorance and negligence due to their trainers. Without improvement, more stories and deaths like Cobain will be swept under the rug, settlements will silence the truth, and owners suffer the emotional and financial burden of trainers' misconduct. We need to strive for change to shape the future into a more safe and ethical environment for our horses, and without it, our reputation will continue to suffer in the equine industry. For the future, we need to continue to strive for transparency and change to continue to improve our industry as a whole. Owners need to continue to ask questions, request contracts, and check your trainers' backgrounds. Riders need to continue to educate themselves on horse welfare and their standards, and trainers need to take more accountability and give clarity to their clients. As for the general public and animal lovers, we need to continue to sign petitions, support legal reformation, and enforce animal care standards to continue to keep our horses safe. What happened to Cobain was a horrific act, and I know what Shannon Eckel did was avoidable if she took the right actions to care for him rather than punish him out of spite. Cobain did not have a voice, but we do. Do not let his death be just another case buried in silence. Let it be a reason to do better. Thank you.